Well, there's nothing like being out in an XK on a day like today.
Now, this is one of my favorite driving cars. It's not the quickest in the curves, but it's a lot of fun to drive a long ways. I've had this car since 1970.
Now, how much was a car like this back then?
It was $1,600.
$1,600. Well, what have you got back here?
Oh, just a few things I pulled out of the garage. That's an AC Bristol. So much fun to drive, lightweight. You think, gosh, I could just piece that out and make it a beer can. It's about the same thickness. This wonderful little derivative of a BMW pre-war engine. Looks like a dual overhead cam. It's not. It's way tall. And then if you look down here at the steering skip, what do you think that is? What do you call that? It's not exactly rack and pinion, but it has that little sort of almost triangular plate that moves back and forth and steers the wheel.
You know, I had a go-kart once. You had a steering like that.
But you'll see when you drive it, that steering, when you point this car someplace, it goes there. So be careful where you point it.
Well, this is really a treat. Steering is really, really responsive.
Yeah, even though it's that odd design.
It feels like a thoroughbred you're having to hold back.
It does, exactly like
Every
that.
time I hit the accelerator a little bit, it just wants to jump out there. Wow. All right, what are we driving next?
Well, I was thinking we might try this E-Type over here.
What year is this car?
This is a 1961. It's the 10th E-Type made.
10th E-Type.
So it's very, very rare. And it's got a very interesting history.
Wow, looks like jewelry in there.
It is like jewelry in there, but when I got this car, it had an overhead valve Ford engine in it. And this whole front end was just awful. The car sat in a front yard outside of Birmingham, Alabama, and it was literally yard art. And so a picker came through one day, buying cars for a guy in California who's a breaker, a dismantler. And he says to the guy, hey, I found you E-Type number 10. He says, you want it? And the guy says, sure, I'll take it, thinking someday I'll find an early E-Type engine. Gets shipped to California, he sticks it in a corner somewhere. A few years later, he calls on an engine and he asks the guy to give him the engine number. And just coincidentally, by the way, the engine's sitting outside of Birmingham, Alabama.
Still in the same locale.
Same locale.
That the yard art came from.
So the guy in California says, oh, it's gotta be my engine, which it ultimately turned out to be. So a car that migrated from Birmingham, Alabama to California without its engine somehow got reunited because a breaker decided to call on an ad in a car magazine that turned out to be
the correct engine.
His engine.
Great story. When this car debuted, it blew the automotive industry away. It was probably one of the best receptions of an automobile since they debuted the XK150 in 1949. So you can imagine, this saved their company. Enzo Ferrari said it was the most beautiful automobile ever designed.